How's it going, everybody? So what I wanted to do is show you a little bit about my scratch-built proton pack that I'm putting together right now. I've had some people point out some things with one of my other videos about stuff that I've used to build this guy so far. Got most of my materials already on hand, so I can just kind of piece things together as I want. But what I'm doing right now is I'm going to show you some of the things that I've used, like alternate pieces and some stuff that I've actually had to purchase, which is fine, but I've built a lot of this myself. This is like 90% built by myself. Some things I couldn't fake and some things I just had to buy from the stores or whatever, but that's just what you're going to have to do to get a little more movie accuracy. But yeah, so I'll get right into it and kind of give you a rundown of where I started, where I'm at right now, what I'm going to do, what my plans are. So the big thing to start off with was the cyclotron, this big guy right here. I started off with these little purple insulation foam boards that you can get from like Home Depot or Menards for $6 or $7. You get like a 3x3 panel of these insulation foam boards. Can't see it, of course. It's underneath already. I built the body of it, cut it to size. It was easy to shape and cut. Little cleanup, not too crazy, but really easy to work with. So I built the body of the cyclotron. Then I took some spare wood that I had to do the top of the cyclotron right here, and then underneath the pan. So you kind of built the body of that, made it really solid. Then of course there is the cake pan itself, $5 from the dollar store, Dollar General, Family Dollar, wherever you're gonna get it. Really cheap, inexpensive way to build yourself a cyclotron here. Got myself a couple washers. I'm gonna change these out to some of these neoprene rubber washers that I found. These actually are a more accurate size. Gonna cut out the holes a little bit larger, use some epoxy or some super glue to kind of stick them on there, replace my lights, move them over a little bit, but I like these a lot better than the washers. I should have even flipped these washers around to get the logo off of here. I kind of liked that detail on there, but not anymore. I'm going to remove those. But I started over here. I'm going to change them out for these guys later on. The bumper, as you can see, is a Hot Wheels track. Paid $1 for it at the dollar store. I got 2 Hot Wheels tracks. Or if you have any laying around that you don't need anymore, if kids are using Hot Wheels and they just don't play with them, whatever, just I don't think they're going to miss a track, whatever. But that's my bumper. Cost next to nothing. Got myself a couple more washers, different sizes, a 2-inch bolt to make the actual bumper itself. Cut out a little piece of wood to shape that right there. At first glance, it's a pretty nice looking little bumper. It got some screws for the sides right here. And then I've got my PVC pipe for my end filter. Kind of flattened it off on the top over here with some foam and some there's another piece of like styrofoam on the inside to make it a little stiff, and then a flat black piece, thin black piece to flatten it out and make it look nice and clean, or cleaner than it was. Drilled some holes in it, and then I got these little, let's see here, stainless steel mesh filters from Menards. I think this was like $2, something like that. And I just kind of wrapped it in there. Got some hot glue. Can't even tell. It definitely is a nice little alternative for a little filter in there. Let's see the rest of the cyclotron here. We've got the lights on the inside, of course, the electronics. The glass itself, I've used it in a couple spots. So the glass, I've gotten the power cell right here too. This was an old acrylic stand that I had from work that was cracked. I just broke the rest of it off basically and just use the pieces as I need it. So I cut it with an X-Acto knife and then shaped it to size and stuffed them where I needed to. So these are epoxied on the inside of the cyclotron right here. I'm going to wind up painting them red on the inside so that you can't scratch it off on the outside. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the power cell. I'm going to paint the inside of this blue so that the lights will shine through it still. The LEDs themselves are still blue, but it'll tone it down a little nicer and kind of make it not super bright, but then it's going to be painted on the inside here so that you can't scratch it off on the outside. So there's the glass for these guys here. Plenty of wood, plenty of spare pieces that I had in my shop and my garage, just kind of lying around. So this part of it up to this point right now hasn't cost very much. For my little elbows here, I originally had these guys, these little black 90-degree elbow pieces. These were pretty cheap too. Not that these were very expensive either, but these are definitely a lot nicer than these guys. So I had these sticking out in a few parts, just kind of super glued them into the holes. I had one here, I had one here at the top, and then I had one underneath my ion arm over here. I took them out, heated up the hot glue, and removed them and exchanged them for these guys here, which these are a lot nicer. Not 100% movie accurate, but these were like $2.50 a piece at Home Depot, and they're a lot closer to what it's supposed to be. So if you're not wanting to order something and wait for the parts to come in, that's a nice little alternative. And then these golden or brass hex nuts. These were meant for like lamps. I got these from the lighting aisle in Home Depot. So they fit perfectly on the thread for those little elbows there, as you can see. So a quick little alternative right there. And then I fed my, got some primary wire. It's a little stiffer, so I like the fact that this is a little bit stiffer. I might even just leave the lettering and the numbers on it just to give it a little more detail to it. Some of you like to remove stuff or have different thicker wirings or whatever. I still need to attach them into my compression nuts here, but I got the red wire here. The blue wires are just networking cable that I had laying around, so that didn't cost anything. And I have some up here. I'm gonna find a better way to kind of attach these onto it, but it doesn't take much. I got some up on top. I'm gonna change this out for the yellow, find some yellowing wire, but this is just a placeholder for right now, feeding into the elbows and the resistors. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. So we've got basically the cyclotron right now. Around the edge over here this is all EVA foam. I got some to fit perfectly on here. I just cut a bunch of squares and kind of wrapped it all along the bottom. Some pieces of wood for the battery pack and the little part at the bottom down here onto the foam. This guy has a little plumbing connector that I thought would make it look a little nicer as far as connecting my split loom or split-less loom that I'm going to attach and feed all my wires through. So that's going to go in there. I just thought that it made it look a little more mechanical. And that's just me. I mean, you can use whatever you like, of course, or do it more accurately, which is just continuing your little wood or foam pieces all throughout and then just directly feeding your loom right into the pack, which is how it's supposed to be. But I liked this better. This, again, is just me. So once that's painted black, it's going to look a little more mechanical. So then there is the cyclotron. So for my Clippard valve, I just used the 1-inch PVC pipe. All my PVC pipes, to cap them off, I've just jammed some water bottle caps in there. Some water bottle caps are actually shaped differently, so some of them are a little tighter than others, and some just like fit right in there perfectly. I just put a little hot glue on the inside before I glued it through the board here, but that gives it a little texture on the top too. Once it's painted, it'll definitely look it'll look nicer. But for my Clippard valve, I took my 1-inch PVC, jammed it with a water bottle cap. Then I took a hot sauce bottle cap, rammed a nail through there pretty carefully. I got a little piece that's sticking out here, but that'll be covered up with some paint. And then some foam underneath. This whole thing, I'm going to make it look a lot nicer. I don't really care for how this is looking right now. I'm learning as I'm going still, and I'm finding materials and things that I can use instead of what I've used on here when I first started, which was about a month, 2 months ago. But as you can see, I've got a piece of foam under here, and then I have a jar lid, like a spaghetti sauce jar lid, and then some more foam for the piece that goes around the Clippard valve. And then I screwed that through for what's supposed to be the screws right there. I'm going to change those out for something different. What I came across as an alternative material for this guy, if you're so inclined, these guys, we just had our baby, and I'm finding things around the house and just kind of looking at stuff and seeing things in a different light, and like, this actually might work as a Clippard valve if I were to empty out all the soap and after it's all done and used. But just kind of unscrew it a little bit more, glue it back on, paint this top part silver, wrap a sticker around it, paint it all black. It is the exact same size as a Clippard valve. So if you're looking for a cheap alternative, don't want to buy an actual valve and spend the $30, $40 that they cost, or even going with a PVC pipe and kind of makeshifting your own, just get something that's pretty much already a Clippard valve shape and size and paint it. So this guy would work perfectly if I were to make another one, or I might even use that for my neutrino thrower. That'll work like that. So just a for instance. Got my split loom here, coming through my compression nuts. Compression nuts were bought at Menards. I took a lot of my shaping and my materials and dimensions and kind of instructions from Lost Wax. He's got some great videos on how to build proton packs from scratch. All of his stuff is made out of foam, EVA foam, and then he got his hardware parts from hardware stores and from stuff around the house. But I took a page out of his book, took the compression nuts, drilled little holes in the sides here, and then put the screw in the side, stuffed some epoxy in there, and then the hole in the top is just a piece of foam with some gold or copper tape on it. So it makes a nice little top to that guy there. And that'll be the spot where my split loom connects. Same thing for this guy up here, compression nut with the copper tape inside and the screw with the epoxy. And then I got another one up here. It's kind of hard to see at this angle, but same thing applies up there. Compression nuts. These guys in the center, they're not the elongated ones. I think I can still find some elongated ones, but again, these are just the exact same compression nuts with the holes and the screws drilled into the sides. And then I'm going to feed my primary wire through there. Let's see. Top of the cyclotron is another jar can lid. I think what I'm actually going to do, I found some peanut butter jars that actually have a perfect size lid that would look a lot better than this. So I'm going to unscrew that, cut out my peanut butter jar lid, put that on there, paint it. It'll have some ridges on the sides. It'll definitely give it some texture, but it'll look a lot nicer than this. And it'll cost me nothing to do it. So there's a real quick and easy alternative to do your Clippard valves. As far as the gearboxes are electrical boxes. I see a lot of people out there using electrical boxes for these parts. Now these guys actually changed up the dimensions of my Proton Pack overall. Not by much, but just enough to where I'm going to have to kind of make some more adjustments later on, and I can do that pretty easily. But for now, they're going with the placeholder thing. So the width of these electronic boxes kind of extended the overall height of my pack by about an inch. Not too drastic, but it's enough for me to notice. When it's on my back, I can definitely tell that it's either coming over my shoulders a little bit more or just hanging down a little bit more. So I'm gonna have to wind up crunching these guys a little bit more together, fixing this PVC pipe right here, and then shaving off a little bit off the top right here, removing my ion arm and then moving it down, cutting my booster tube a little bit. That's easy fixes, but again, it's really hard to notice right now, so it's still at first glance going to work really well. And then this guy right here, another electrical box for the gun box. This guy, I think these were like $3 each. This guy was in a clearance bin, and I paid like 40 cents for it. So a nice little find right there. Is the perfect shape and size and dimensions. And then for detail, these are just popsicle sticks that I cut to size. So I'm going to sand these up a little bit, glued them on there. Same thing on here, electrical boxes, glued on some popsicle sticks here and there. Here's where the little sticker is going to go. It's going to cover up this little ugly looking spot that I filled with some glue. You're not even going to see that or even tell that it's there. The alley in between is just a little cut piece of wood to hold the spot. Now my crank generator. This is just a milk jug cap with a screw in it and a dowel. I don't really care for the way this looks right now, so what I'm going to do later on, until I get I'm going to buy some actual parts. It's just going to be an ongoing thing as this is, growing and I'm learning more about building stuff, but I'm going to change that out for an actual crank. Find it somewhere and, get it shipped and all that, but I think that I found something else that would work better in the meantime. So this was just a cap from a milk jug or something like that from one of my kids' Happy Meals. Or I think we got it from a gas station or something. I'm like, this cap actually would work a lot better as a crank. So it's got some more depth to it. I might not put the little knob on it, but I think I might even feed, I'll take this all off and then feed my potentiometer through there to use this as my control or my volume knob. So that is just a suggestion. I've seen a lot of people use this as their volume for speakers and sound and all that. But this, I like this guy better, and this is going to look better than this. It's not perfect, again, not 100%, not accurate, not the actual part, but for what I'm doing right now, it's going to work a lot better. So that's going to go there, I think. Let's see here. So the booster is the main body, the main part of the pack right here. This is all just wood. I have plenty of wood in my shop here, and I just shaped the whole thing to the pack itself. Underneath, you can see everything in here is all wood. The booster is the PVC pipe. I got some epoxy and hot glue and flattened this out, made this look a little nicer with the foam on top. This was all kind of cut up and jagged, and I didn't like the way that looked. So once I put paint on it, it's going to clean it up a little bit more. Some more bottle caps, water bottle caps with nails through them. Be very careful about that. PVC pipe with some more foam on top, and then drilled a hole and fed my networking cable through here and cut my loom. That's going to go right on top of there. And then I found the clamps, the rubber insulated clamps. I think I found these at Menards as well. These were actually kind of hard to find. Not too many places had them, but I happened to find them at Menards. It was like $1.50 for one. So I got a couple of them just to have on hand, and then screwed them through. By the way, side note, if you find anything, or if you're going to go to anywhere to get parts, random pieces and actual like electronic pieces and elbows and things like this, or nuts or compression nuts like these, any little like kind of actual little electronic pieces, I would definitely suggest Ace Hardware. So I got these washers, these neoprene rubber washers from Ace Hardware, and looking around, they had the perfect size bolts and washers and elbows and hex nuts and compression nuts and the clamps and everything. I'm like, why haven't I been coming to Ace Hardware more? So I think I'm going to be doing that versus going to Home Depot. Nothing against Home Depot, of course, or Menards or anywhere that you like to get your stuff from, but I think that if you find a really nice Ace Hardware, they're going to have a lot more of the detailed, specific kind of nuts and bolts and pieces that you might be looking for your pack. So that's just another suggestion. So back to the booster. This guy is just a piece of illustration foam underneath, kind of supported with popsicle sticks. So again, at first glance, it makes a nice little booster frame, but I've seen a lot of people actually use, rather than using the popsicle sticks right here, I've seen a lot of people use pencils, Ticonderoga pencils to be precise. So you would cut those at whatever angle. I think one of them is a little steeper than the other, top and bottom, that it gives it a little hexagonal shape right here. And then that's definitely a lot more accurate. But just for what I was doing right now, this worked a lot better. And I can always just take this off later on. So it's not glued on there, it's just screwed on. I can build another frame, maybe use pencils, or even just purchase an actual frame if I wanted to, but I think I might just build it and do it again later. So that's my placeholder frame right now. Let's go to the power cell. Power cell, again, just all wood, framed with popsicle sticks. Gonna sand those up a little bit more. My window, I had some trouble cutting out my window, and it was a little jagged in some spots. So I tried to, sand it as best as I could or file it down, but it was still a little jagged. So to kind of give it a little more cleanliness and a little more detail, just I kind of like the way this came out, but I cut up some more popsicle sticks and just kind of jammed them in there and hot glued them. I think it was epoxy that I epoxied them in there, but don't need much. So it gives it a little more a clean window for the power cell right there. My injectors are just the PVC pipe. They are epoxied into the piece that's underneath and then just hot glued around. I'm going to put some hot glue around the edges right here to give it more of a welded look. They are capped with the water bottle caps with some hot glue on the inside, and they're feeding through the networking wire and the primary wire down to the wooden battery pack with some screws in it. So very simple. My ribbon, I'm pretty proud of my ribbon right here. So my ribbon is literally just twine from the dollar store, $1.25 or $1, whatever it is. I got a couple packs of these to get some different colors, so I paid, well, $2 really. So I got another bag with 3 other colors, and I just mixed them all up with some T-Rex tape, and that's it. This ribbon cost me $2. Well, with the tape, the roll of tape is another like $6 or whatever. So $8 for a GB2 ribbon. I'm gonna make this a little thicker. I don't like how thin this guy turned out to be, but the materials and the look definitely came out nice for that ribbon there. So it took me a night to do it. Not too crazy. This guy just came out. I'm gonna glue him in here eventually. And then my ion arm. So let's talk a little bit about this guy. Again, all wood. Everything is just wood, cut to size, shaped. Here is where my afterlife switch is going to wind up feeding through here. I got my elbow with my hex nut feeding my networking cable. These are actual resistors. So I got, I forget like the wattage and the sizing and all that, but there's a smaller resistor right here and a larger one over here. I think I paid $5 for 3 of these and another $5 for like 4 of these guys. These are fairly inexpensive and you get a couple of them. So they're not the exact ones that are meant, of course, for a Ghostbusters pack, but I mean, they're actual resistors. I didn't know how to build these or how to fake these, so, and I actually kind of like that they are real and that they are actually gold. So I might even just leave these gold rather than painting them black. I'm gonna see how these look towards the end of, you know, painting everything. But yeah, so these are actual parts. They're not gonna do anything, of course, but they look a lot better than just me trying to build something or fake a part right there. The resistor that's on the side here, what's supposed to be that large resistor sticking out of the side, is actually one of those poster frame screws. It screws into itself. So you would fit a poster right here. This is actually what's holding my my Alice frame onto my pack, or my pack onto my Alice frame. So I've got a box of these guys. There was like 4 in a box. So I just took one of these and screwed it into the side here. It worked a lot better than the piece that I had here, which was one of those little electrical wire connectors. It had some ridges in it. It worked all right, but I felt like this had a better size and shape and color to it, and it's metal. So again, this is just another placeholder piece until I get maybe an actual resistor or can build something that will look a lot nicer. I would just unscrew this whole guy, take it out, and then put my actual resistor into the wood there. So it's not a big deal. It's a nice little placeholder for now. So there's that guy. The top of the ion arm is a separate little piece of wood that I cut, and then I drilled some holes through the top and through the bottom. Sorry, top and bottom. But I wrapped it with some silver tape just for now, just to kind of give the look and aesthetic for what I'm going to do later on. Drilled some holes and put some screws here to hold it onto the ion arm, and then on the top is a little dowel. I'm going to switch out probably switch out this whole piece, but I just wanted to see how it was going to work for now. But I've got a dowel up on top and then a pencil through the bottom. That's supposed to be that little copper, the grounding wire, or the grounding rod that's supposed to come through the bottom. This is just a pencil. That's all it is. So I'm going to wrap that with some copper tape, or paint it, or even get an actual copper rod, maybe sometime down the road. But again, placeholder stuff, at first glance type of stuff. Something that I've also noticed, or that I did notice while I was building, rather than using this one piece PVC pipe, I came across this guy here. This is the inside of a roll of tin foil. And you can get a roll of tin foil for what, $1 or something like that at the dollar store, or pretty cheap, much cheaper than spending $6 or $7 for a piece of PVC. And this guy is actually pretty close in size. So this will work if you're looking again for like making an at first glance type of thing. This would even work as the handles for a neutrino thrower. So it's the perfect size. It'll work for Clippard valves, it'll work for handles, it'll work for your barrel, it'll work for the little the channel right here for your split loom and your gearboxes, it'll work for the injectors. So if you have any foil laying around, or if you do, you know, have a little box of like spare stuff or whatever, this guy's really solid too. So it's a nice little alternative to a PVC pipe. So it's really stiff. It'll definitely hold and kind of work as an alternative, of course. So yeah, that is my pack. Scratch built with a lot of homemade stuff I found around the house, some things that I did purchase, but fairly inexpensive for the pack itself, minus the electronics. The electronics, of course, again, are the most expensive parts in building a pack. If you're pretty savvy on like finding parts and crafting things, it would be, you know, this pack itself, minus the Alice frame as well. I could not fake the Alice frame. The Alice frame was, I want to say it was $50 on Amazon. But if you're so inclined to build one, this guy so far, minus the Alice frame and minus the electronics, which I could not fake myself, I think I paid all in all maybe $150 for all of these little random parts and pieces. So $1 for a Hot Wheels track, 20 cents here and there for some washers and some bolts. The wood that I had myself, $7 to $8 for a long piece of PVC pipe. Jar lids cost nothing. Little caps cost nothing. Water bottle caps cost nothing. The loom, the split loom, I think I paid like $4 for different sizes at different lengths total, which I'm using everywhere. So on my wiring right here, popsicle sticks cost nothing. Pencil cost nothing. The clamp cost $1. These guys, the elbows, cost $3 each. $2 for a pack, $5 for a pack. The larger PVC was another $8. The electronic boxes or electrical boxes were $3 a piece. This guy was like 20, 40 cents. I forget what it was, but it was less than $1. More PVC up here. Hex nuts, or compression bolts, compression nuts. These were less than $3 or something like that. And then some more screws here and there. I paid like, I don't know, $4 for all these guys, and some spares here and there. But again, all the body and the wood and everything, this I had in my shop, in my garage. Didn't cost me anything because I've had it laying around from other projects. Let's see here. The plumbing piece, this was $2 right here, but you don't have to use that if you don't want to. But yeah, that's just a quick rundown of a scratch-built Proton Pack. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any other suggestions on anything. If there's any other things that you think would work better than what I've used right here. Or if you know of anybody that is also building their own Proton Pack, send this to them. Let them know that there's some definite alternatives and ways around finding parts. If you can't find anything or don't want to have stuff shipped to you or don't want to wait, you can definitely build some stuff on your own if you're so inclined. But yeah, let me know what you think. Leave some comments, share the video, subscribe. Thanks very much, guys. I appreciate it.